Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Ruiz alongside my co-host Chris Jenkins. Our Carolina Panthers were just defeated by the Minnesota Vikings 34-28, and it was a rough game. We're going to see what Coach Rule has to say.
As I told our guys, we're not the type of team that's just going to show up and not execute and just still win the game. We can't have however many drops we had. We can't have mistakes. You can't turn the ball over 3 times yet again. We're going to have to execute at a higher level. What does execute mean? It means everybody does their job. When they have a chance, they make a play, right? And so, they had good players. We knew that they would make good plays, Jefferson and all that, but we had chances to sack the quarterback. We had chances to balls on the ground that we didn't, get on, and then obviously, offensively we were significantly out of execution, out of rhythm. So,
what happened in the second quarter with the back-to-back timeouts and the delay?
Yeah, we lost 2 receivers. We lost Zylstra, and then we lost Marshall. So Erickson had to go in and just got confused. I shouldn't say he, but they just there was some confusion of who was who in terms of lining up. So Alex is a really smart kid. He plays a lot of different positions for us. Either he or the tight end, somehow they got confused as to who was where. So we lined up poorly, and obviously you can't call 2 timeouts in a row. That we have a long way to go. That we're not where we want to be. To Joe's point, you can't line up and call 2 plays timeout 2 plays in a row. You can't do all those things.
Coach Rule talked about how this team has a long way to go. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm glad that he admitted that they have a long way to go, because they do. Anytime you also heard him there talk about the famous timeout, then it was a Darnold goes to call another timeout, but you can't, so it's a delay of game. It's like, man, we just got to get things together. Mm-hmm. And they do. Too many penalties, too many, just all kinds of stuff. Everything just comes to mind. It was like a train wreck. They have a long ways to go. Mm-hmm. He said they need to find out their identity as well. Mm-hmm. And to me, his press conference was a little bit revealing of a guy that's slightly dejected. Mm-hmm. He knows that I feel like he knows that he needs to go home tonight, wipe the board clean, and start over, because I feel like the league or their opponent are figuring them out a little bit more than the average team should be figured out at this point. Mm-hmm. And he knows that they need to do something differently. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he responds at this point, after I feel like he's at a point where he's admitting and seeing that there's some major work to be done here.
I definitely agree with that. But let's take this piece by piece.
Okay.
Let's start with the special teams.
Special teams. Let's start with special teams. So what I saw today, shout out to Chase Blackburn, right? He had a field goal block last week, was it? Yeah. And then this week he has his special teams come back and block a punt against the Minnesota Vikings right down there. I like when I remember where they were on the field. And not only did they block that punt, but guess what? Touchdown. So first time that this team, here's a little nugget for you, ready?
Okay, bro.
First time this team has scored a touchdown off a block punt since 1998.
I was 3 years old.
Right. So some good things from special teams, and you had some things as well, right?
Yes, I want to talk about Zane Gonzalez.
Are you cold?
I'm very cold. This California girl that went to college in Indiana is still not used to the cold weather.
I can tell you a little bit like
I'm shivering, my arms.
Cold?
It's the cold. But anyway, let's talk about Zane Gonzalez.
Yes.
I think we may have found ourselves a kicker.
Yeah.
I really do. He has been consistent.
I'm sorry, I'm talking over.
Oh, no, you're good. He has been consistent. He has not missed. He made every single field goal last week. Mm-hmm. He did today, too.
Yeah.
And I think we have ourselves a kicker. And I'm just so impressed with him, because our kickers have not been the greatest. And you know that. We all know that. Every Panthers fan knows that. And I think we finally might have found our piece. Yeah. I have faith in him, and I am going to hold to that. So how do you feel about him?
Yeah, you're right. He did do well. For me, it kind of got overshadowed by the fact that we were losing so badly. Mm-hmm. But you're right. He is being solid. And Ryan Winslow that we picked up for punting, I think he did very, very respectable to say that he was at Uncle's last week selling jerseys and stuff. So definitely. I think his long today was about 44 yards. So that was pretty good.
That was impressive. I was very impressed by that. But, okay, we covered a little bit of special teams. Now let's talk about what everybody wants to hear.
What do they want to talk about?
The offense. And it's not good things that we're going to talk about the offense. I know that much. And I know there's a lot to improve on, but I want to hear your thoughts on today's offense.
Yeah, so Lauren can tell you about the mood in the press box, which was it wasn't the best, because it was just like, man, what are we watching here? What's going on? Very first play of the game, Sam Darnold throws an interception, and you're kind of feeling like, man, what's about to happen here, right? Sam had himself a terrible game, and now this makes 3 terrible games in a row. Coach Rule said that he needs guys around him to help him out. And I can see that, right? When you had, like today, we had a lot of drop passes today. Doesn't do much to help your quarterback out if he's already struggling, if he's already running for his life. He can start to feel like in the head, like what's going on here, and just start trying to do any and everything. But Sam had a poor game. I forget at what point, but he had a 0% rating. But let me tell you how good old Sammy Sam finished. 17 of 41. For just over 200 yards, and pretty much that last drive is where he got all those yards from. So you can really cut that in half. Yes. One interception, and he had the TD at the end of the game. He had a fumble, and just didn't look good. But let's also talk about his receivers, which Coach Rule said need to help him out. So you okay?
I'm not prepared for this because I'm just so disappointed. I'm sorry for sighing very loudly, but that's just how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, maybe you can get so mad that it warms you up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's happening right about now because my blood is starting to boil.
So DJ Moore, he had an okay game. He didn't have a great game. I was going to say solid, but it wasn't even a solid game by DJ Moore. He was okay, and then he had a very uncharacteristic fumble, which they came back and they scored on the offensive side. But all the receivers were dismal in their receptions. So DJ Moore was, did I have it here? He was 5 of 13 on target. 5 of 13. That's pretty bad.
Another deep sigh.
Yeah, deep sigh. Robbie Anderson played the lottery here. Okay, number 11 had 11 targets. You ready? For 11 yards. Played the lottery. There you go. Those are your numbers. 11, 11, 11. He only caught 3 of those. Right. Had one big one, the touchdown at the end. But it was pretty unusual, and Coach was asked about, hey, you've known Robbie Anderson for a while. This seemed pretty uncharacteristic. Like, what do you think, and have you ever seen anything like this? He just alluded to saying, like, we need to get better. I think he wanted to say, like, no, this is as bad as – but, Coach isn't going to say that about his players because he wants them to come back out and play a good game next week. And not last, but we lost the time of possession, which I know we're going to talk about the defense here. And it's like, well, did our defense get tired? That was asked. And, Sean Chandler said, no, we got to play better. Of course these guys are going to say we got to play better. They're not going to say, yeah, we were out there for freaking 45 minutes, man. Give us a break. They can't do that. But the time of possession was lost. And I'm going to drop another nugget on you. I think it's called gem. What do they call it? I'm trying to be cool. I don't even know.
A gem is good, a good thing.
Okay. What am I dropping?
I'm assuming something bad.
Miscellaneous facts. So, yeah. How about the third quarter woes, all right? We come out pretty bad. We had 7 points total in the third quarter through 3 games. So we have been outscored 48-14 in the third quarter this season. Coach was said, hey, Coach, we're able to come back a little bit at the end of some games. We did a little bit against Dallas. We did a little bit today. What do we got to do that come the first half or come in the start of the second half? Now, he did say, hey, keep in mind, though, but this makes it worse, right, if you really think about it. He said, keep in mind that toward the end of the game when we are making those pushes, defenses are changing up their defense a little bit. Yeah. They're going a little bit more to a prevent. They're not doing what they were doing in the first half because they're just trying to protect the lead. So you can't even take the gimme on that, even though you want to find something to cheer about. But like he said, they need to find their identity. They need to really establish something, and they don't have it right now.
No, they do not. They do not. And today was really, really hard for me to watch. The offense struggled tremendously.
I'm just as light, but you keep on talking.
Okay, yeah. Sam Darnold, I have kept the faith in him throughout this entire season. Today, I lost a little bit of that faith. I don't know if I'm as confident as I was in Sam after week 3. But I was very disappointed in his performance today, and I know a lot of you were as well. After that first play of the game, I feel like he really set the tone. He really set the tone for what was about to happen. Little did we know.
Right.
And then he let us know. And also, I was also extremely disappointed in all of the missed catches. Robbie Anderson, that's somebody I want to talk about.
So what do you think? What do you think was going on with Robbie today?
So I have noticed this season Robbie has not played like he has played last season. His energy's not there. I just feel like his body language is negative. I feel like since he got paid, I really think since he got paid, he just hasn't performed. He hasn't cared to try as much. It doesn't seem like him and Sam are connecting like they, like like last year he had a lot of connections, I mean, with, Teddy. But this year, I thought, former teammates, they'd have that, and they just haven't. I don't know. It's something with Robbie. I feel like it's just his energy isn't there. It's almost as if he doesn't want to be out there. That's how I really feel. That's how I really feel. So I'm disappointed in Robbie. I hope that he gets it back together.
Yeah, I'll give one counter to that. So Robbie did make a comment this week about getting players to get paid after and how they perform after contract, and he's saying that he cares and he's passionate. So I feel like he does care, but this is where I go all on like agreeing with you. I feel like after that game last week and the frustrations that you saw a turnaround this week in his demeanor, his body language, and just kind of being like, what the heck, like kind of checking out. Maybe he was, I don't know, but I totally feel you on his demeanor and stuff this game.
I get that I think he made that statement to kind of stick up for himself a little bit.
Okay.
I think he probably has been told that that's the reason why he's acting different by a lot of people, I'm assuming, and he had to come out and say that because I feel like there is no other explanation. The way he performed last year, amazing, and it doesn't just change overnight.
Okay.
So something had to have changed. And if that's the case, I hope he brings the energy back. But you would think if last week he didn't have a great game and he was really upset and frustrated, that he would turn that around, that anger and frustration, into a solid game and be able to catch. And today was balls bouncing off his chest, right out of his hands.
That's like the high school thing, right? Like you're never okay with these guys dropping the ball, but when it like this, then you're like, what is that? Are you awake? Are you here?
Yeah, it was a tough game, but those are the things that I was the most disappointed in.
Okay.
So I know we talked a little bit, actually a lot about the offense.
We did.
And my favorite thing to talk about. Yeah. What's that?
It's defense.
It's the defense. Yeah. And week and week and week, the defense continues to impress me, and I feel like they have to work so hard that by the end of the game, they're burnt out. After the third, going into the fourth, they just have no energy left. But how did you feel about today's performance by the defense?
Yeah, defense was good. They had to save us early. And it's okay. These guys know it on the defensive side that a little bit more is expected of them in carrying this team with the mistakes because they're so good. They have so much talent on there, on that side. And I just think when you very first play, you're kind of sitting here on the bench, and you're not, I won't say you're not thinking you're about to play, but you're just kind of getting settled in. They're like, oh, turn over, go back out there. It's like, I thought we got the ball. We just kicked the ball. We just received the ball. So having to go out there and play right away off a turnover sucks. But they did well, right? They responded to it. They only got a field goal. I think it was another short field, and they got only another field goal. And they scored one touchdown. But they're still doing good to say that the offense is like really slacking, really causing turnovers and not doing too well. So. And then later on the second half, they had a 13-point third quarter. I'll say that Minnesota kind of amped it up at that point, but then the defense, they rose up again. They locked it back down in that fourth quarter, which gave us a chance because the offense started to do some things and got that surprising drive at the end on the fourth, late in the fourth. Well, they had fourth down conversions that they were making as well. Sam Darnold kind of tuned in. And I thought we were going to have to change our script. They scored, went into overtime, and then ultimately lost. And you do have to wonder a little bit for today, like, was that defensive time out there on the field something that contributed to, a loss?
Yeah, the defense, I feel like like I said, week after week, they impress me. And I was impressed with Hassan. I feel like Hassan is a dominating force out on our defense. And you know who else I was impressed with?
Who's that?
Luvu.
Okay, Luvu was good. Yeah, he was good.
He's really good.
Yep.
So as much as the defense continues to impress us, they're going to continue to struggle because of our offense.
They could struggle.
I mean, they just think about going out on the field constantly. They're just worn out by the end of the third and the fourth. They just have nothing left to give, and that's how I feel week after week after week. Is we come down to the third and the fourth, and the defense is almost. No, I don't want to see they have no energy, but they're tired.
Well, I would just. Prior to the day, the offensive does spend most of the time out on the field. So from the fatigue standpoint, they shouldn't have that in those previous games. Today was the only day that it was flipped because we are such a leader in that time of possession. But I just think that on the defensive side, they are good. They are pretty solid. And just overall, you're wanting the offense to catch up, to give them more of a chance to win.
I just feel like the defense is out there more after the second half, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like in the previous games, second half is when they have to ball all out because the offense just gives up. I feel like at that point.
I would say, definitely to your point, I would say the offense just kind of goes night-night in the second half, and you're like, okay, now the defense
Yes,
is
they gotta
responsible
pick it up.
for everything. They got to
Yes.
give you the energy back. Not only do they have to stop, but they got to do something because the offense is just not giving you anything. So definitely, I see what you're saying in that regard. Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like we covered special teams, offense, and the defense. So how are you feeling? You got any other things that really stood out to you that you really wanted to talk about or that caught your eye?
Nah, I'm ready to get. You guys are probably ready to get out of here. There's nothing great to say. I'm ready to get out here. Next week, I say we. I'm not traveling, but they travel up to New York, and maybe this is what we get excited about. Two teams that don't have the best records, and we're going to be up in New York. And let me ask you, Lauren, if we lose next week against the Giants, what does that mean? You know the Giants' record right now? I think 1 and something maybe? I don't know.
They're not good. So if we lose next week, my faith in our team will go down.
Okay.
As much as I love our Panthers, I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay. Yeah, if we lose next week, it's just, hey, we'll continue to make things as interesting as possible, give you some good tidbits and gems about other stuff to make it interesting as we wait for them to get their act together.
Well, I'm Lauren Reese, and this is Chris Jenkins. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, don't forget.
Oh.
Like the video.
Oh.
Subscribe.
I say that every single time we're on camera, so I think they know, but we can say it again.
Yeah, and then tomorrow at 7 Eastern time, go live. You guys may have questions about this team, about what's going on. A whole hour dedicated to answer your questions. So set your calendars, hit your alerts, and watch.
I'll see you tomorrow.